2, 3. Testing, testing. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry about that. Thank you for pointing it out in live chat. I was absolutely glued to that sprint race. And I've not been able to call Red's victory either. Thank you so much for pointing that lot out. My apologies. I don't know why it went down the way it did, but that really sucks for everybody, especially for Red and for Dirtbag Larry. Red winning the race there with a gap in the end of just 0.9 of a second from Dirtbag Larry. I can't even recover it. I had an OBS crash just at the start of the race, and it seems that it has managed to abandon me there for the proceedings of this. So my huge apologies to everybody. But yes, that was the sprint race. I was shouting and screaming into the mic. But Red ahead of Dirtbag Larry, Flash, and Comacopa. Comacopa flashing his lights at the back of Flash's Lamborghini there at the end. I'm not sure if there was a problem. Uncle Pants in 5th, Tequila Monkey in 6th, Senor and Mappy 7th and 8th, with Dummy, Nicky, Bijan, Phil, and Focal with Sock at the back of the proceedings. You should get a little bit of game sound. Unfortunately, it looks like OBS is just letting me down a little bit there, going back to back races. But I did do my usual protocol, and unfortunately, my headset managed to decide that it wanted to deselect itself. So that's fabulous. I do apologise, everybody. Let's have a look then at the standings, shall we? For the championship. After Tokyo here in G1. We have Mega Racing leading the championship on 127 points, ahead of Delesi on 116. Buckstein have 107, just 1 point ahead of Kimmy's Racing Team in P4 on 106. JPI Racing Yamplact Interiors on 92 from Brokaga, and Coach Dave at the rear with 59 points. This was before the sprint, of course. Just want to make sure that our weather is okay here for our race, because the clouds are very present at the moment. I'm just going to check in on our event settings as well while I flick over to the driver standings here in G1. This is Dummy, having won the first 2 races, podium the remainder with the exception of round 4. And then we have, he's on 92 points, just 2 ahead of Senor Fak, who has more wins to his name, 3 wins to Dummy's 2. Then we have Zoom Room Bijan in P3, moving up ahead of Tequila Monkey, who is joint 4th place with Flash on 57 points. Flash, our only other winner so far from round 4. Funny Nicky in 6th place ahead of Dirtbag Larry in 7th. Dirtbag Larry with a fabulous drive from the back of the grid through no fault of his own in Tokyo. Comacope is in 8th place on 39 points, with Red in 9th place on 36 with his first feature race podium, followed immediately by a sprint race victory. Uncle Pants in 10th place with Sock in 11th, Phil in 12th with Focal and Mappy. The remainder of our drivers. It looks like we have got C2 cloudy and warm preset weather today. Well, at least for the sprint. I don't know if that will change later on. But yeah, that's how our driver standings look at the moment here. Let's have a quick look at the track in close proximity. Well, hey everybody. Apologies, we've got a fairly protracted delay for the start of qualifying. So hopefully we will be able to bring you some information very soon. Please stay with us. I think it is just been changed, so we should be able to dive into the qualifying session, 10-minute qualifying session, any moments. I think a couple of drivers, particularly Uncle Pants, were slightly confused there about what we were actually doing today. That the sprint race was happening. Saw a 7-lap race, thought it was a qualifying session. So the drivers just checking in, just getting themselves ready for this one. Congratulations to Red for the sprint race victory there, and to Dirtbag Larry for coming home in second position. My heartfelt apologies to you for the issue. For some reason, when my OBS crashes and restarts, it seems to just completely forget that my headset is what I always commentate into. Welcome to Taylor, to Kim, to Oscar, and to V8 Eater, who are all watching, and for most of whom let me know while I was really enjoying the sprint race, didn't actually see the live chat. So I've covered myself in absolute glory there today. Waiting to get underway then for our qualifying session very soon. I tell you what we will do is we will have a look at the combined standings, shall we, across division for the championship at the moment. Just waiting for that to build. Here we are. So the combined championship sees Team Mega on 766 points, ahead of Delesi on 717 points. Those two teams are out and away. The hot favourites at this point. Kimmy's Racing Team 560, and with the roster on Kimmy's Racing Team, I think many people were expecting them to be the combined Master Championship leaders. I have to say, Berkestein in 4th, Jan Placht Interiors in 5th, and Coach Dave in 6th. But it's mighty close between I would say 4th and 7th. Anyway, waiting for everybody to check in now, unfortunately. So that's happening. We'll have a look at the overall drivers' standings, shall we? That sees that Empire has the most points accrued so far in our combined championships, having made the best out of all of his appearances. But Pat Finn, my teammate in the AN division, is not far away on 134 points. Beragos, then the likely drivers of Vader, V8 Eater, and Jose, Senor Fac, and Dummy, all on 3 figures here, with the drivers in the next group. Then Arya Raballo Faye, Season 1 veterans, tied for 9th place, and we've got 1 minute before the race. You can find all of this information on info.svr-racing.com. This is the VR Sim Racing World Championship. Please make sure that you are doing all the good stuff, and following my channel, following SVR Racing as well, and subscribing to all of those. You can see some country breakdowns on here. I haven't got time to show you it all. I've been given a 1 minute warning for the qualifying session to begin. Driver performance metric shows that SkyCloud is our highest performing driver, but has only taken on 1 race, got an absolute maximum of 1 race, 1 win, 1 fastest lap. Pat Finn has 8 podiums to his name and 4 fastest laps, with Vader 5 podiums and 6 fastest laps. So yeah, fantastic Master Championship, brilliant metrics for everybody concerned in our field. But please browse at your leisure as we get ready to take on Circuit de Catalunya for the qualifying session to begin momentarily for the drivers. 10 minutes rolling start should be. I think it should be starting. There it is. Well, I think we're doing championship order. Yes, so the reverse of what we just witnessed with regard to the drivers starting in the sprint race. So it is now championship order this has been arranged into, and that might explain some of the delays. And thank you to Jose for persisting with this difficult setup for hosting today. Low heavy clouds across the circuit, possibly keeping the track a little bit cooler than the drivers would have been expecting. Let's make sure we get Hector on here, because that will tell us our qualifying positions, and we will join Dummy on board then, our championship leader, in the relatively quiet car of now. Tell me if things get a little bit too loud, please, because again, I think all my volumes have reset. So if it's too loud, the engine note, let me know. But I'd love a levels check from from my live audience, please, if you would be so kind. This is Dummy, then heading into turn 3. Excuse me, turn 4. I'm on fire today. Sounds fine, if a bit quiet. So that would be the engine note, perhaps. Okay, we'll turn the engine note up a little bit. It's actually quite a quiet car at the best of times, the Lexus. Running through turn 5 on board with Dummy. So, of course, everybody's outlaps are going to be fairly similar here. But an opportunity to set a first banker, at least for the second 2 sectors, to be considering. So out of turn 9. Heading down the short straight down towards turn 10, underneath the Polyphony Digital advert, getting a full lock of crossed arm lock on the steering wheel, running through turn 10, and then just letting the engine braking take effect through 12. Then we've got the 13, slightly truncated version of turn 13, before then having the horrible chicane. Just try and pitch 2 wheels up into the air. If you can straddle those 2 raised curbs on the way through, then it should be so slow on the exit of the chicane that it's full throttle on the way through the final corner. And across the line for Dummy. Of course, he's going to set the fastest lap immediately. Senor Fat goes 2nd position, as far as I can tell on my display. Here comes Bijan running through into and staying into 3rd position. Well, no one is setting a fast flyer lap at this stage. It looks like everybody, because of the distance on that rolling start, will have the chance here. We'll join Senor Fak on board as he's just ahead. Oh, that's problematic for Senor Fak. He may well elect to move out of the way here for Bijan, and does so. That's good. Well sporting. Hi to Ruben. Hope you were watching earlier when I failed to call Larry coming 2nd in the sprint race. Yeah, he's obviously doing well so far. That gives the drivers a little bit of confidence. This is the Nismo, that little off-throttle downshift squeak that it does. Looking a little bit oversteery through turn 7. Really compromised the run through turn 8. He's on a hot lap here, but unfortunately that's very wide for Bijan. He may get a penalty after this penalty marker board, which will delay him on the way through following, but I think he was slow enough off circuit to not be a problem. We'll go back to Dummy, who's on the first proper flying lap here. And of course there's this 10-minute race period for the drivers, and you add a little bit on, so the checker flag falls at the 10-minute point. Here comes Dummy then to cross the line. We'll get a first representative time. It's a 1:45.920 from Dummy. We've got a 60-minute race coming up for you. Let's hope my voice holds on today. Bijan 2.5 seconds slower. Flash goes through into 3rd, but Tequila Monkey immediately goes into 2nd position in the standings. Nicky Lauda crosses the line. He's in 5th at this stage. Dirtbag Larry across the line himself goes into 3rd place for Coach Dave, and Red takes himself into 6th with the first flying lap. Uncle Pants in 8th place. I'm going to ride on board with Red in the Ferrari. Of course, the Ferraris don't need to qualify well the way they start. And there's a nice wide racetrack here for the Ferraris to make their move. They struggled on the street circuits and the run down into turn 1 of both Daytona and Tokyo to really maximise, and I suppose Watkins Glen as well, to maximise the performance of the Ferrari. But this long run down to turn 1 should help no end. And you've got at the moment Red. How is this lap looking? It's a green lap so far, I believe. No, it's not. Sorry, it's a blue lap underneath his name. So very little fuel on board. And that's going to really hurt. That's really going to hurt Red going through turn 8. This is Dirtbag Larry, who has caught Niki Lauda, who gracefully gets out of the way. I'm just going to change the view here. We want some car info. I think we probably want everything on screen, actually, so we can see the track times coming up. Dirtbag Larry, his sector. This is in the Audi R8. Dirtbag Larry for the Coach Dave Academy car. All the way down to first gear. Got to be really careful on throttle, and then he had opposite lock on as well, Dirtbag Larry. I don't think this is going to be a particularly quick time from Larry. He's lost ground to Tequila Monkey in front. It's personal best for Larry. He goes third place. Here is Tequila Monkey in the Ferrari. We've got Flash in front on track at least, and it looks like Tequila catching Flash over the course. Tequila's in second place, the Irishman, on a 1:46.3. That's quickly beaten. Senor Fak goes into second place, then 1/10 of a second away from our driver at the lead of the championship and at the lead on the track, Dummy. Let's follow Dummy through the next sector and see what his lap looks like as the cars get lighter and lighter now. 1 minute 45.920. The only driver in the 1 minute 45s here, Dummy. Update on the lap coming up on the approach to the braking zone here, and it's slower by 0.3 for Dummy. But he's just got to navigate the chicane well. We've had 6 minutes 45 on the clock. Let's try and give you a racer picture in picture as well. We'll move to Bijan. Not many drivers have set their Twitch stream today, unfortunately. Need to have words with them. Maybe they'll do it for the race for us, for the feature race. Dummy climbing all over both sets of curbs there on the last 2 corners. I think this is not going to be a representative time. It's nearly a second away. I need to find where Senor Fak is on the racetrack. Here he is. Oh, this is a slow lap from Senor Fak. I think he's taken the best out of the tyres potentially. So he's not gunning for a manoeuvre. We've got Flash moving into third place ahead of Tequila Monkey now. Tequila Monkey has a penalty on the car. Won't complete the next lap. Gets out of the way of Dirtbag Larry. Again, being as sporting as possible. But he doesn't want to be so sporting that he loses the opportunity here. In fact, it feels like he's stopping the car to try and let the entire field go past. Certainly letting his teammate go through. Let's join Dummy once again on board. Let's see. I didn't quite catch his next lap attempt on the first sector. Looks like Flash is catching Bijan. Flash will be getting impatient here. There's Bijan with a twitch. That will further inflame Flash, I think, because if the driver is clearly not on a competitive lap, they really ought to move out the way. And Flash straight into the barrier, unfortunately, following in the dirty air, trying to maximize his lap, and he's hit the wall and he's damaged the car. I think he's just going to stay there now at this point. There's not much left to do, really, once you're in that position. Bijan is in second. That was a personal best for him. He will pay the penalty after this lap, not during this lap. So that's a slight issue that we have there when it comes to using our endurance setup here. As Dummy goes into the pits, I think Bijan might do the same thing. Senor Fak currently running around P12, I think, on the circuit. Where is he? There he is. And he's got a purple sector. Dummy's pitted. I don't know if Dummy's got time. I don't think he has to go around and set another lap. But Senor Fak is on a purple time here. Oh, a little bit of opposite lock. I don't know if that's going to lose him 0.3, but he's closing in on Uncle Pants. He hasn't been able to build the gap because he's been putting in fast laps back to back. Has Senor Fak, the Porsche, throttle turning on the slow corners. Uncle Pants with a big slide. Senor Fak keeps it pinned. Can he take pole position here? Senor Fak gets the toe. He does take pole position at 1:45.661 right at the end. And he manages to take that provisional pole. Tequila Monkey crosses the line, stays 5th position. Sock goes across. No change for Sock, unfortunately, in P8 for him. In through comes Mappy. Mappy gets a personal best time on the final lap. Goes to P10 in the order. Flash goes into the pits. Focal will go through and score a P9 in the end. Congratulations to him. So Tequila Monkey and Red are tied next to each other on the third row of the grid. That should be fun to watch, I have to say. So let's find those two in their pride colours. They'll have to try and arrange who goes which direction, because they'll both be trying to gain at least one row on the way through. So congrats to Senor Fat, getting the pole position ahead of Dummy by 2.5 tenths of a second on the end of the race, on the end of our endurance race setup for qualifying, ahead of Dummy, and Flash then a further 3.5 tenths back. Dirtbag Larry missed out on P3 by 2 thousandths of a second, ahead of Tequila Monkey then in 5th and Red in 6th. Funny Nicky in 7th with Sock in 8th. We have Focal in 9th and Mappy in 10th. Zoom Room Bijan in 11th place, and Phil and Comacopa. I'm not quite sure what happened to Comacopa. That is not usual or normal for Comacopa. He has already been doing... he's already had a race, an hour's race around Tokyo just this afternoon that I was commentating on earlier on. So very busy day for him. But fastest driver then in qualifying, or at least at the moment anyway, as Tequila Monkey comes across. That won't be a faster time from him. We are deep into the 12th minute now of a 10-minute race as we run through. But Senor Fak has the pole position, no doubt about that. He's got front wing damage somehow, whether that happened before or after the fastest lap. But Senor Fak with the pole. So believe the run, the positions on your tower, although it just gets cleared. So I'll do my best to try and give you a clearer view on that. I should get the session results through. Here they come. So I'll be able to put those up on the screen. Let's give you that in a fantastic grid setup as well. Here we have it. So props to Beragos for building this one for us. What was that in the live chat? Is this the sprint? No, Ozzy, I'm afraid you've missed the sprint. That was the start of the race. That was the qualifying session. So this is our grid as things line up in Catalonia. We have Senor Fak ahead of Dummy, who's got the inside line, I think, on the way into turn 1. Flash and Dirtbag Larry in 3rd and 4th with Tequila Monkey. Interestingly, Tequila Monkey ahead of Funny Nicky there. I thought Tequila Monkey and Red had row 3 together, but looks to be the case that Red will start directly behind his teammate. Sock in 8th, Focal in 9th, and Mappy in 10th place. Zoom Room, Phil, and Comacopa bringing up the rear in unfamiliar territory there for the Brokaga driver. But there's lots of racing still to come, of course. We'll be heading into our feature race once the grid has been built here in the background. Jose doing the job for us today, so big thank you to him, and I will leave the grid on the screen for the time being. Comacopa complaining about the Supra in the chat here, it seems, but the Supra has definitely been a problem for our drivers here, for our Brokaga drivers so far. Yeah, it's definitely been difficult. I'm hoping that more drivers will connect to Hector for today's race, because obviously I can give you their Twitch stream. Everybody, with the exception of Uncle Pants, has generally been able to connect to Hector for us. I don't see Uncle Pants actually on here. I'm wondering if he ended up not checking in time. Well, we have 14 drivers. Where did Uncle Pants go? So the session is being restarted here for the sprint race, for the feature race, sorry. And it's now the grid is now being rebuilt. Uncle Pants is with us, but he will not appear on our tower. So that is difficult. I'm not sure where he qualified either, unfortunately. Let's see if I can find out the time of Uncle Pants. His best lap, a 147.9. 47.9 puts him conveniently at the back for our purposes here. So you'll find Comacopa and Uncle Pants at the very back of the grid, 13th and 14th positions. But hopefully for them, things will improve a little bit. So grid penalty. Dummy is reminding somebody about something. I'm not sure whether is that Dummy that gets the grid penalty. I tell you what, we can always go and have a look, can't we, at the website, and we'll have a check on the previous round. So let's go back here to the previous session, and we'll just navigate on the website live. Why not? Here's the race results from last time out. We didn't race at Tohio, by the way. That was just a typo. But did we get grid penalties come through? We got a penalty. Is it here? No, that's fastest lap for QT. Where is our penalty marker? I'm in the wrong flipping qualifying. Forgot to press G1. There we go. Okay, let's get it together. So did we get a penalty? We got a Tequila Monkey at a penalty. So there should be sitting somewhere Irish Liquid getting a 14 place grid penalty. Senior Fat getting a 2 place penalty, it looks like. So that was impeding. He gets a 2 place grid penalty. And Irish Liquid getting 14 place position penalty. Wow. Tire change prohibited. That's the thing. So that was what that was for. So he was reset for that one. But he was only reserving for us anyway. So that's immaterial. But those are your penalties from the grid there. Ironically, of course, it was Senor Fak who caused the problem for Irish Liquid, who then had his own infraction. But that was how the race finished as a result of Tokyo. We are building towards the race, I promise you. We are getting there. The grid is being rebuilt. But I am just going to take a quick drink break, and I'll be back in a moment for you. Okay, folks, the waiting is nearly over. We've been given a countdown, so we are almost there for you. Thanks to Jose for working hard on the setup for us. I'm sure he's as keen as everybody to get on with this one. So yeah, appreciate everybody's efforts and everyone's patience. And of course, I mentioned to Senor Dude, I was about to thank you for the graphic, but you've kind of thanked yourself. But yes, a very nice graphic for this one. Thank you very much, Senor Dude. And if anyone wants to submit content, please do so by in time, the Saturday before race day, and I will put a shared drive position so that so you can upload over, and I can get extra content onto the broadcast here. Yeah, really excited about this one, and yeah, we looking forward to it. Let me hear your predictions, podium predictions, perhaps. Senor Fac, I think we'll have to start 2 places down, so it looks like he's been deposed to 3rd place for the race. Dummy and Dirtbag Larry will share the front row. I think it'll be potentially a two-stopper. Remember, there are ways to join the channel as a member on a small amount per month. I think we've got 4 or 5 different levels, but you can also send a super chat thanks. But please like the video today, be a subscriber to the channel, and I don't know, leave my content watching on a playlist or something overnight would be very much appreciated. So it's time to go racing. We are ready for the G1 round 7 of the championship here at SVR, as this is Barcelona, the Circuit de Catalunya, and we will get everything ready for you. Get those driver names off the cars. We will get everything ready. We will get our good camera angle if we can find one. Here we go. It is 5 red lights for the start of our championship, round 7 of 13, and it's dropped the clutch and go straight away. You can see Dummy and Dirtbag Larry getting away quite nicely, but the Ferraris are already challenging. Here they are. They've got Dirtbag Larry already, and down into the corner you can see Dummy defending hard from the resurgent and forward moving Ferraris. They actually touch each other, the Ferraris, I think, momentarily, as Dirtbag Larry comes through into 4th position, turning 2nd into 4th thanks to those rocket ship Ferraris. There's the gold wheels of Tequila Monkey, the red wheels of Red in 2nd and 3rd position. So what can Red do here? And that looks like you've got Niki Lauda challenging for potentially 3rd and 4th positions overall. It's Dummy, Red, Dirtbag Larry, Tequila Monkey, Funny Nicky, and Flash your order at the moment. And there is Nicky starting on the hard tyres. I think that will probably be a popular choice. Tequila Monkey has gone onto the medium tyres, released Dirtbag Larry to go through on the mediums himself. There's Red on the mediums, ahead of just behind Dummy in the number 33 Mega Racing car, who has started this race on the hard tyres and has already pulled out a small gap. It says 2.5 seconds. I don't believe 2.5 seconds is possible at this stage. That looks to be probably not even half a second between the two. Down into turn 10 we go with the helicopter cam. Focal defending hard, but he's being swamped by black and green cars left and right. That looks like it's Sock coming through the order. It looks like we've got a driver right at the very back of the grid. It's Phil in the Porsche, but it's Copa, I think, in the 38, is it? Or is that Uncle Pants? It's Uncle Pants in the 38, but the head of the field is Team Mega. That was Larry getting a right old wriggle on coming through the corner on the approach to the final corner. And Dummy will go to one side of the grid to try and stop the slipstream here. This is Dirtbag Larry. Nice little gap for Dirtbag, having opened up there on the run through, and then it is single file before we get to the Buckstein racing cars of Niki Lauda and of Bijan. Bijan getting ahead of Niki, but a big slide for Bijan, and that looked like Code Brown for Niki, who thought he was going to run into his own teammate there. Senor Fat going from 2nd on the grid on the hard tyres, 2nd row on the grid on the hard tyres with his penalty, has dropped down, but he's on those hard tyres. He's in a good position for the race. Niki Lauda, unfortunately, insults or injury, has picked up a a small off-throttle penalty to come through. Sock in 10th at the moment, but the Ferraris are second and fourth positions on the medium tyres as we run down in towards the difficult turn 7 up the hill into turn 8 now, and it is Dummy ahead of Red, Dirtbag Larry and Tequila Monkey. You have Bijan's point of view as the rearmost Twitch streamer today. Sorry, I should have changed that to Funny, actually, to Funny Nicky. And we'll have a look at how the start went down for our drivers here. You can see the Ferraris already ahead and moving forward. This is the view then as they collide. That was Tequila Monkey getting a bit stuck on his way through, and Red stealing a march and getting up into the head of the field then. Great start. Let's have a look at the start from the rear of the top 10, shall we? Perhaps let's have a look. This is the perspective of, I think this is Karma Copa or Uncle Pants running through. This is Uncle Pants with the yellow Webbo stickers on the front. Looks like things worked out just about okay. Nobody in dire straits or difficulty coming through. As the Nerf Ferrari comes to call from Taylor, absolutely. It is definitely at a major advantage at the start. Uncle Pants then comes through. He's in 11th, not on your tower, but Phil moves forward past Focal. Focal defends hard though down the inside and holds on to his position, but not for long. Uncle Phil, Uncle Pants. Yeah, not quite sure where I'm going with that one, but it's shades of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air here. Do we get a little hit? No, it's all on our own for Focal, unfortunately. So down to the tail of the order for Focal and the head of the order for his teammate in the Mega Racing Car Dummy. But Red is all over Dummy like a rash here, causing an absolute nuisance. Flush with success for his first feature race podium and then followed up with his first sprint race victory. Red in his rainbow colours for celebrating Pride Month. Kimmies are celebrating, and actually Dummy's got the rainbow on the roof as well for Team Mega. Yeah, here comes Red and pressurising. He certainly knows how to drive this car around Circuit de Catalunya quickly, as we witnessed in the sprint race. Getting up a little bit of dirty air then on the way through the tough chicane, exiting the final corner, losing track really of Dummy, but putting in a fastest lap of anybody so far, 148.8. How is Flash doing? Well, he has Tequila Monkey right with him. This is a little bit hairy as they come down. Flash holding that inside line. Tequila Monkey has the outside. You can go side by side through the first two corners if you're both fairly accommodating, but Flash had the inside, and the natural racing line took him to sweep across the front of Tequila Monkey. Behind them, Senor Fak has moved his way up to 5th position. Watch for him being a threat later on. Many of the drivers in the main fight for the top points today are on the hard tyres at the start of the race. Will be quicker and quicker and trying to one-stop this one. Here is Flash defending hard against Tequila Monkey. Once again, Tequila going all the way round the outside. Flash drives him, well, I would say drives him off the circuit at my first viewing. We'll perhaps play that back again and see how that felt from Tequila Monkey. He was actually ahead at the apex, I think, here, while braking hard together. Tequila around the outside, had a right to the corner, question mark, answer that in the chat if you will. But it didn't look like Flash is going to give this one up easily. I'm sure Tequila wouldn't want him to. But Red is still knocking on the door of a potential lead of the feature race. Outside to inside maneuver through turn 12. This is dangerously close from Red's perspective as he closes in now on Dummy, who is pretty quick through this chicane, I think. Just straddles that yellow curb on the way through the next corner. Looks like Red is as close as he's been coming out of the final corner in the hunt for this lead of the race. Red needs to get this lead at this point because he's on the medium tyres. He has to try and make this work. But I think he's too far away at this stage. Let's go to the battle for third position as Flash and Tequila Monkey are side by side and rubbing wheels. rubbing, and that'll leave a bit of rainbow paint on the pretty black and gold car of the unplacked interiors. Driver Flash. Now, again, I feel like at first viewing at least, that was not a lot of space given. Tequila will put up with a little bit, but not a lot of this kind of treatment. Round the outside, he was expecting to be driven out to the outside that time, I think. Certainly learning from it, and here we go. If Flash had a tough time holding off one car, he's now going to have two cars battling with him. Senor Fac around the outside of Tequila. Tequila leaves a small gap on the outside of that turn 5 as they power into turn 7. Tequila kicks up one wheel into the dirt. Ask Rizback how that helped him in this very track 1 week ago. Flash in 3rd, Tequila Monkey in 4th, Senor Fac in 5th, and then the Buckstein Transport Service cars are right with them as well. Bijan just ahead of Niki Lauda. Tequila half attacking, half defending, I think, into the corner. Red is still in 2nd place at the moment, but we'll see them coming through the final corner. And we'll see if Red has got an opportunity. Let's just have a check here. I don't think anything's going to happen at the moment further back. I think we're just going to be back and forth between these two battles. 0.4 of a second, may be close enough, may not be close enough. Let's see how close Red is on his bumper. It looks like, to me at least, Dummy is well trimmed out for top speed down this main straightaway. Flash is moving. He's moved once, he's moved twice across and weaving on the straightaway here. Tequila can't seem to get the slipstream and keep it against Flash. You can see a little nibble at the rear there. Might or might not have been intentional. I would imagine not, but who knows. Senor Fac in 5th place in the Porsche, watching and waiting for the medium runners in front of, well, Tequila being a medium runner, trying to make that opportunity. Tequila down the inside into turn 4. And that was sweetly done from Tequila Monkey. Let's have another look at Tequila then, how he built this. It was outside to inside through 4. Closes off the opportunity for Flash to turn in on him early. And Tequila just breaks later. Gives a little bit back, I think, of what he had been suffering earlier on. Gets the inside line. It looks like Flash is about to come under pressure then from Senor Fac. Now that Tequila Monkey on those medium tyres is able to get away here comfortably, I think, at this stage, and he's following him. Senor Fac 0.3 of a second away only from Flash. Of course, they're all holding each other up here. The gap to the leader, 8.9 seconds total from Tequila Monkey's 3rd place. Red comes through, 0.6 of a second away now. As they head in towards that all-important chicane. Little twitch on the front of the Ferrari. That might be lag from Red's perspective, but 0.8 of a second is too far away to really go for a manoeuvre. The gap between Senor Fac and Flash, 0.7, so likewise a similar situation. There may be the chance of a double toe here. But that is the order then. 3, 4, 5, Tequila Monkey, Flash, Senor Fac, Niki and Bijan. Niki's repassed Bijan now for Buckstein with Sock in 8th place. We have Mappy, who's up from the back in 9th place. Komakopa has made it to 10th so far. Dirtbag Larry in 11th, not having a good run at the start of this feature race. Put fuel on board that and medium tyres on the Audi, and it's not quite with him as he would like it to be. Uncle Pants has a 1 second penalty to pay. Phil is in 13th. Focal is in 14th. But the head of the field, it's between Red and Tequila and Dummy, I should say. As Dummy, we'll see how much Dummy is looking in his mirrors, shall we? As we'll follow his stream. Red running in P2. There is Tequila Monkey, Red's teammate. Opening the gap now to Flash. Flash on the hard tyres. So is Senor Fac behind him. The gap between the two, 3/4 of a second only. Flash goes very, very wide. I think that's too wide for track limits. Let's see if he now gets a penalty on the car. No, he's escaped it. So he managed to do it off throttle, I think, as Senor Fac misses the apex slightly there with the Porsche. It's lap 7. We've had 13 minutes of running. The fastest lap is a Dirtbag Larry lap of 1:48.490. I don't quite know where that came from when he's so far back in the order at this stage. You can see Senor Fact, the Croatian racer, just using every inch of the racetrack and a little bit more. Now he's very close to Flash. Flash defends hard to the inside. But I think Senor Fact had the momentum. Now what will Flash do? Senor Fact allows Flash to close right back in towards him. And he tries to do a bit of a Verstappen, I think. But Flash looks to just be hanging on with his fingernails at this point. Let's follow Senor Fact, who goes right to the outside of turn 3. Approach to turn 4 now. And it definitely seems as if Flash is struggling on the hard tyres for JPI. Senor Fact trying to do a bit of a late apex. Didn't quite clip the apex, didn't quite maximise the corner. Looks like a pass there for P8 potentially. Let's have a look. We'll go off board, shall we? This is Sock and Mappy. I'm waiting for it. Yes, Sock to the outside. Mappy just cycling through the inside from basically a mistake, I think, on the part of Sock that allowed Mappy to come through. Mappy is showing some good pace here today. We've got a close battle going on. Dirtbag Larry versus Comma Copa. Comma Copa to the outside. Dirtbag Larry holding on to that 10th position. He has the fastest lap of 1:48.490. Do you know, I think for a moment I thought that new display of the fastest lap at the bottom of the tower was actually his position. So that's probably on me. Dirtbag Larry is in 10th. Hasn't changed significantly. Yes, he has. 7 down from the start. So I was starting to feel bad, but I think he has dropped places anyway. So Red is 0.6 of a second only away from Dummy. Their gap is 7.2 seconds, and it looks like Bijan and Funny Nicky have swapped places again. Here they are, coming through, and it looks like simple and straightforward slipstream battle between the teammates. There is Flash going all the way onto the dirt as well, and down in towards the corner they go. Senor Fact trying to maximise the run as best as he can. This is Tequila Monkey on his own in 3rd position. Then you've got Flash and Senor Fact coming through. I wonder if that was just a little flash of lights there from Senor Fact, or was it just the sun glinting off his yellow Porsche headlights? Flash out on the dirt once again. It's very easy to pick up a penalty through there. Bijan looking like he's in the same situation, and once again Nicky Lauda. Huge tank slapper, well rescued from Nicky Lauda, and that all sort of built, I think, from the mistake in front, and not for the first time. This is Nicky, unsure whether his teammate was about to crash into him. Left, right, and he just rescues it. So style points for Funny Nicky, because that was well held as Mappy and Sock chase him down now. Let's have a look at the gap here at the front. That looks like Flash has got a penalty to pay next time round. Sock has piled the pressure on. I wonder whether it was that exit from turn 7 that cost Flash, or there was a further infraction. Flash pulls to the inside, kind of pointlessly, because he's got a second penalty to pay on the next run down the back straight. But he looks like he's got a top speed advantage over Senor Fact, who's stuck on the outside at the moment. Let's ride with Senor Fact, shall we? As those dark clouds, certainly a very different day to the one that the Formula cars were experiencing earlier. Flash moves across to the inside again, and Senor Fact might be able to walk through the door here. As Flash committed very early to the inside line. Senor Fact, I think, won't put himself on the outside because Flash has made his intentions clear out there. Pressure, just need to apply the pressure now because Flash has that penalty to pay. So he's hanging on to this position. I don't know if he's maybe hoping that Senufak picks up a penalty himself. But there he is, out on the dirt. An old tactic there to kick dirt up into your opponent's face. That'll be the Lamborghini gone, and Senufak will breathe a sigh of relief, but it has cost him 6 seconds to what he was previously battling with Tequila Monkey, almost losing it into turn 10, having lost his own braking marker references. He's been careful not to run into the back of Flash, I think, to this point. So we'll be monitoring his run. Red pits now, so does Tequila Monkey on lap 10 with 20 minutes elapsed. If they are going to one-stop this, that's going to be a long run on the hard tyres. Let's see, I think a one-stop is probably not going to happen. Looking at Dummy's tyre wear here, yes, he's driving a Lexus Pig, and yes, it's been fat with fuel, but that tyre wear on the front left is quite extreme. It looks like it's going to be a two-stopper. Senufak and the Porsche, typically a slightly less aggressive car on its front tyres, but the tyres are squealing, running through turn 4. He's almost off. He's almost off and over the line, and Flash follows him as well. They're both drivers struggling. Massive slide from Senufak. There's another style point going out to Fak there with the Porsche. Beautiful slide from him as they go down. I think he's sliding into 5 as well. The Porsche is quite a quick car on the slightly sideways motion at the best of times. Quite a difficult car to drive in a straight line, quite honestly. Niki Lauda is ahead of Bijan, whose hards are in slightly less good condition, but it does look like this point of the race, the driver's tyres are just giving up on them. Sock is looking great on his hards. He's really taking good care of those hard tyres. Now, if you go for a lower downforce, you can, as long as you don't overdrive in the corners. If you can treat those tyres carefully, a lower downforce does use the tyres less, but obviously it will induce more lateral movement in the tyre if you are tempted to overdrive. Komakopa moving up to 7th position, and his front left not looking quite as bad as many other drivers' hards are at this stage. Phil in a similar situation, and brand new hard tyres on board for Red, who's in 10th place. He's got a great position here. He's really in open air, and I think the drivers will slowly pit in front of him now off the hard tyres quite early on. I think it's going to be 1 hard and 2 medium sets of tyres. Uncle Pants goes into the pits. The first of the hard starters on their scheduled pit stop pits at the end of lap 10, and that's in a Supra as well. There are worse cars out there to be driving in terms of front left tyre wear. Dirtbag Larry has also pitted. Dummy as might well be one of the first drivers here on the hard starting strategy to pit, and as long as he's got past the 1/3 distance, he might be feeling like the mediums will comfortably do half of the remaining distance. Okay, certainly on some of the drivers' cars they did manage to do that quite well. Here is Senufak. How slidey is the Porsche at the moment as Flash continues to use every bit of the extra painted surface outside of the racetrack. Manages to get through turn 10 a little bit smoother. Nicky looking good on those tyres. Bijan will be headed towards the pit lane momentarily, I think. We'll just see if Dummy decides to go in now. He's low. Well, he's not actually very low on fuel at all. It's just that bug on the screen. My apologies for the red text. It means nothing. Dummy's going round. Doesn't fancy it. Senufak will probably stay out as well. I could see in the cockpit he had opposite lock on mid-corner there. I think these cars are becoming incredibly hard to drive in this pedestrian final sector of this Circuit de Catalunya. So yeah, it is definitely a real challenge for everybody. That's Bijan going into the pits then, off his hard tyres. And Sock is promoted then to 4th place. Sock could be a dark horse in this one, or dark bull, I suppose, as a Lamborghini driver. He moves up to 4th. Komakopa goes up. Nicky and Bijan have both pitted here. So they could extend these tyres a little bit further, but there's not a lot of point really, because if you can use the mediums, unless you're trying to use a set of softs at the end of the race, I think 2 sets of mediums is going to be the way that the drivers will go. This is Red, former second position, winner of our sprint race, podium scorer in Tokyo, and ferociously quick since he put that rainbow on the car. Tequila Monkey in 8th place is running 40 seconds away from the lead of the race at the moment, with Focal in 9th, and he's trying to tiptoe his way around on the hard tyres. Niki Lauda has got some medium tyres on now, and he's down in 10th with Bijan in 11th, and nearly 5 seconds further back from him. Mappy's in 12th on the hard tyre. We've got Uncle Pants coming through in 13th, and Dirtbag Larry clearly did have some problems at the start of the race. Has dropped down to 14th position, and he is 1 minute and 14 away from the lead. Leader though now pits, dummy in. I think Senor Fak might stay out here. Oh, big nice hop up of the Porsche, and he goes round. I wonder if Flash decides. No, Flash is staying out as well. So Senor Fak P2, now P1, as the former leader Dummy is in the pits and going to be getting refueled here. And it looks like, is that crickets I can hear in my ear? I think it is. So there goes Dummy. I never thought I'd hear crickets at a racetrack. But Sock in P3, he will get P3. We'll see Dummy appear in the pit lane exit momentarily. Red's coming through. Where is Dummy? Dummy's on his way out here, and he will come out behind Red. So Red has done the undercut. The undercut here on Dummy, and has track position by a second and a half. Now Dummy is using a second set of hard tyres. Oh, that's a surprise to me. I thought he'd go for 2 sets of mediums. They do have to change compound if I'm doing all my rule monitoring properly. I believe I am. So you can confirm in the chat if you're in the know, but I'm pretty sure they have to use the medium and hards. They have to change compound at very least, but I believe the medium and hards are available and required today. So Dummy's gone for 2 back-to-back sets of hard tyres. Is he tempted to run just 1 set of softs at the very end? Here he is, running through P6 then, 1.4 seconds away from Red. And we'll just check out, let's have a look then, shall we, at Dummy. I think we're looking at Dummy's POV. So let's also look at his fuel consumption figures, and we can have a look and see exactly when he is fueled to. He's fueled to the end of lap 18, so it says. I'm not feeling super confident about that. I'm not feeling very confident at all. I think the leader, Senor Fak, is now pitted. Let's just have a look. No, I think the fuel level hasn't registered for Dummy this time, unfortunately. There he is. Let's change over to Bijan, shall we, on the picture-in-picture, as Dummy comes through in P5. He's got Red 1.1 seconds in front of him now. Flash is your new leader. Sock is in second. Jamplacked Interiors 1-2 at this stage, although they have not yet pitted. So Dummy comes through. I'm interested now to see what the other drivers do. Senor Fak uses the medium tyres on this stint. Dummy, I'm pretty sure, has more than 3 laps of fuel remaining in the car. And he is chasing down Red. 0.8 of a second now. And a fastest sector for him, although only by 1,000th of a second. Let's move up the order because Komakopa is not far away from Sock here. And you've got Senor Fak, is that still in the pits? No, that's Focal now pitting. Senor Fak has come out. I can't see exactly where he is in the standings. Here is Sock with Komakopa in 3rd place. Red is in 4th. And Dummy is closing in now. As we go on board, let's use the gyro cam and see as the drivers look in towards the coming apex. Usually, from the driver's point of view, you look to the left of the apex. You're looking through the side window through that tight hairpin of turn 10, especially in this bulky interior Lexus. Oh, bit of a swap going on for dummy. 313. Red struggling a little bit out there, I think, as the driver in front pits. That's Komakopa going in and Sock going in, and Flash is still out there, I believe. Flash is still out, running those tyres very, very low. We'll see if that affects things for him. Certainly the tyres are screaming going through turn 3. I think that's fairly normal though. Dummy's past Red. Dummy has passed Red. Let's see how that happened. As they run down, this is a slipstream battle. Was it down into turn 1, or did he do it through turns 2 and 3? Red is trying to close off the entry to... Yes, clean round the outside from Dummy. Very smooth indeed. And so Dummy now leads Red, but he gets a bit of a wiggle on through turn 4. Remember, both on the same tyres here. Slightly less fuel on board for the Ferrari. It is slightly more fuel economic for him. And we go up over turn 8, and Red is right there with Dummy. He's quite used to following Dummy and his lines through the corners. Would be a little bit frustrated to let him go quite so soon. Where's Flash at the moment? Flash comes through. There's basically 1 pixel's worth of tread left on that front left tyre. So if he doesn't pit now, it's going to disappear off. It's going to delaminate, I think. Dummy pushing hard. And I think that is Flash into the pits with 6 litres of fuel left on the car. Having used those hard tyres a very long distance, nearly half the race. We are coming up on 30 minutes to go, as Dummy will take the lead of the race back from Flash. Let's see to what degree Tequila has managed to distance himself and Senor Fak from Flash. I think they've done a fairly good job here. Senor Fak has passed Flash. Yes. Niki Lauda is even passing Flash at this point. I think Flash is going to appear very, very soon. But of course, he drained the tank. Flash is coming out behind Bijan and behind Niki Lauda. Where has Flash gone? He's coming out in P9. Wow. Okay, so make that 10th position. He'll come out directly behind a Porsche. He'll think it's Senor Fak for a moment. But of course, he should get then the information that he's actually behind Phil. Medium tyres, completely full tank of fuel for Flash. That kind of explains it. He just stayed in the pits for the entire time. Medium tyres on board. I don't think he can do half a race on a full tank of fuel on a set of medium tyres. But let's see if he tries to one-stop this one. Uncle Pants following in the wheel tracks of Mappy. And going for the manoeuvre. I'm hoping that gap between Dummy and Red isn't accurate. Here's an overtake opportunity. You don't see many of them through turns 7 and 8. Mappy holding onto the inside lane. And into turn 9 we go. Uncle Pants, both drivers putting a great drive in there. Ren's asking if Flash is going to one-stop this. That would be an absolute miracle in my mind, Rens, if he makes it. Because he only just got 30 minutes out of a set of hard tyres with the same level of fuel on board. Well, slightly less fuel on board even. A little flash of the lights from Uncle Pants here. Let's have a look just to check in with Red. It said on Hector 3.1. It's actually 1.6, the gap to Dummy. But Tequila Monkey is now reeling in Red. Both drivers on the hard tyres. Red had an advantage over Tequila earlier. In pace on the mediums, but put the hard tyres on and a fair amount of fuel and are committed to 2 stops here, these guys. Let's have a look. Flash down in 10th place, very fat with fuel at the moment, as Phil much lighter but drifting out wide as he goes through turn 2. holding on to the inside lane as best he can. Flash may decide to go for it here. And he, well, I don't know. I don't know. I feel bad. I feel like I'm calling a lot of stuff against Flash here, but was he alongside enough? I felt like he touched the rear half of the Porsche. Well, he wasn't hanging around, so you can let me know in the chat how that looked from your perspective. But I feel like there's going to be a question mark around that one. Phil in 10th now then. Flash up to 9th place and hot on the heels of Mappy. Now Mappy, I presume, was just paying a penalty. More contact at the apex. All the time you have to leave the space, I believe, is the operating phrase here. Seems like defending and attacking, and there was, I think, an accident. Let's just check that one out. I'm pretty sure Mappy was just dispatched into the scenery. Where is he? Where is Mappy? Here he is. They come through the next corner. He's offline slightly. Another touch, and that's Mappy around 180 degrees. And another touch on the rear of a rival as he comes through. So, Flash not here to make friends today, it seems. As he's dropped, well, that's Mappy has dropped 5 or 6 places as he comes through that sequence. Tequila is closing in on his teammate here, but he has a half-second penalty. Senor Fac right on the edge of the road, trying to come through. As Marie is cheering on Kimmy's. Absolutely second and third positions at the moment. Senor Fac right out there, but that should be allowed. Just watch the top of his car and see if he's given any penalty. Down the inside. Wow. He wasn't worried about a penalty there, was he? Come on, Tequila. As Red gets a bit slidey there on these hard tyres. Kim is cheering on Tequila. Kim of Kimmy's, I believe. As Senor Fac is into the provisional podium position there. Remember, Senor Fac having to pay a grid penalty for an infraction in the previous round. Dummy leads by 2.8 seconds over Red, who won the sprint race in fine form from the midfield, did Red. And he's 2.9 seconds away from Senor Fac, from Dummy. Senor Fac is 0.6 of a second only away from Red, but Senor Fac has the medium tyres on at the moment. Red is using the hards for the first time, and so Senor Fac used the hards at the start of the race, took the pain on the heavy fuel, and is just going to burn this set of mediums, go for a 2-stop strategy here. And then Aussie saying go Tequila. Senor Dude saying Flash trying to speed run for penalties. Yeah, in the Saturday race yesterday, Flash was collecting penalties, especially in qualifying, as if they were Pokemon cards. Senor Fac takes Red, I'm afraid to say, for all the Red and Kimmy's fans, down the inside into turn 8. But that slightly unfair fight with the medium tyres versus the hards. Red just needs to redouble now and try and get that place back. Try and put the mediums on as soon as possible. Around 20 minutes to go. Seems like it's the operating window for the medium tyres, but there's a long way to go. If the Ferrari has any weakness at all, it may be in using the hard tyres, because it doesn't use its tyres much. It keeps them fairly cool, and sometimes that's a problem when you're running the hardest compound of tyres. These brilliant looking Pride colour cars, and we're really proud here at SVR to have an inclusive and welcoming community. Dummy leads the championship, leads the race as well on 2.3 seconds ahead of Senor Fac. Dummy on his second set of hard tyres has yet to use the medium tyres even. I think he will go deep into the final third of our race. Here are the two Kimmy's cars. Gold wheels means Tequila, red wheels means Red. So as they head down into the first corner, obviously it looks like Red making life as easy as possible for Tequila, who unfortunately surprises himself and was expecting, I think, to be run off the road from earlier incidents. So let's just see what happened to Tequila here. It's great to see the progress pride flag on the back window as well. Down we go. I think just left his braking a little bit late. Slight miscalculation from Tequila. And there he goes. Unfortunately losing track and losing ground on his teammate while he was trying to help him maneuver forwards. Senior Fact 3.3 seconds ahead of Red, 2.1 away from Dummy, and just that characteristic brush in the dry grass there. Lisa's cheering on Tequila Monkey. My word, Tequila Monkey is a popular driver here today. It's lap 21. It's minute 39 of the 60. There is Red in the background. Definitely crickets I hear in my ear, isn't it? It's not here in my location because I haven't got any crickets in northeast England, but I'm definitely hearing Spanish crickets, or cicadas. Dummy leading by just 1.4 seconds now. He's gonna have to do this from underneath, I think, at the end of the race. I think this is looking fairly inevitable. This situation, this gap to Senor Fac. Let's have a look at what Flash is up to. He's passed Uncle Pants. Phil is still there. Uncle Pants is a ways off, but Flash has 7.3 seconds in front of him to catch 5th place Bijan, as it looks like we've got a pit stop in action at the moment. Or is that just Funny having a problem? I'm showing Funny on Hector in P6, but that maybe doesn't quite seem accurate. My apologies for your standings. Bijan is in the pits, definitely. So let's see, where is Nicky's down in 13th on my display, I'm afraid. So Nicky out there, down in 5th position. Sorry, 13th position now. Yeah, he's finally cycling through. So all is well. All is well with our racer. Let's follow Dummy then, because we're going to see what situation he's got. He's going to be looking in the mirrors, so check him out on the picture-in-picture, as he'll be looking left and right to just keep an eye on where Red is. Of course, in the Formula cars, there's no giant rear view mirror just above your display. You don't get that benefit. So the GT3 drivers have it easy, right? They've got the difficult circuit here at Circuit de Catalunya, with that horrible chicane at the end of the lap to battle with. So Senor Fact, 0.8 of a second. Let's see the drivers on their tyres going through this awful chicane. That was Dummy. Slight miscalculation through there. Senor Fact looked a lot smoother. And just hanging the back out very slightly on turn-in. Looks like we've got more pit stops underway. We're into that final third of the race, when I think those drivers who are going to use the mediums at the end of the race will start thinking about them. Senor Fac's mediums are looking worse for wear, but it's not affecting his pace at this stage. They're not that much worse than Dummy's hards right now, to be honest. Dummy maybe one or two more laps, but I think he probably can't wait to get those hard tyres on. So Dummy, 0.9 of a second separating them. Behind them, you've got the Kimmy's cars, 1.4 seconds between them. Flash is 19 seconds away from 4th place at the moment. I do imagine most drivers are heading into or making their final pit stop around now. Phil, Comacopa, Sock, Larry, Mappy, after his contact and spin with Flash. Uncle Pants in the pits, Nicky Lauda going through. Bijan in that 13th, now 12th. And Focal at the back. Team Mega bookending our race here at the moment. And that gap at the lead is now down to under half a second, as Senor Fac and Dummy may well end up pitting on the same lap here, looking at their tyres. Dummy is probably more incentivized to pit earlier because he's going to use the mediums, whereas Senor Fac has the choice of mediums and hards. Probably will use the mediums too, but it'd be Dummy who's more desperate to get on a faster tyre, I think, and see what he can do. There he goes into the pit lane. Senor Fac from row 2 on the grid, takes the lead of the race with 17.5 minutes to go. Big moments then in our race as Red pits and Tequila pits as well. Thankfully, our pit lane is long enough here in Gran Turismo to allow for our drivers to both pit on the same lap within a team. Copa in P6 with his Mad Panda helmet on because he was racing a Mad Panda livery in his previous race today that I was calling in this very chair. Phil in P7 and Sock in P8 with Dirtbag Larry not far behind as well. Senor Fact, your leader. Flash promoted to second thanks to those pit stops happening at the moment anyway. So Dummy will exit the pits, I think. Will he get some room? I think he will get a bit of clear air here, Dummy. 7.5 seconds to Flash, and now it is pedal to the metal time for Dummy, because this outlap could make the difference between holding on to or losing the lead of the race. He's got new medium tyres, and it is all about how hard he dare push at this stage. Let's follow Dummy here on board and see if we see any mistakes or minor moments here as he needs to push incredibly hard. Right now he has the tyre advantage. For 2/3 of a lap only, he will have a faster car underneath him than Senor Fact, potentially. Senor Fact, has he held on to some tyre grip for the final run in clear air at the head of the field? And before he then needs to pit himself, can he hold on to use a set of softs with a few minutes left to go in the race? I doubt it. The softs are absolute trash after about 7 minutes max in this configuration. Senor Fact pits right now. Right now he pits, so he only allowed Dummy 2/3 of a lap of an opportunity to get a pace difference between the two of them. Let's see what Dummy is up to. I don't get mini sectors. He's actually not as quick as he's been before. Looking at his mini sector display here, launches the car sky high. Although unfortunately, I think that mini sector is probably not telling us the story. Flirting with disaster across the second of those tiny chicane corners. As he crosses the line, then Dummy will be. Of course, Senor Fact will have to pit for less fuel than Dummy, but Dummy is going to take the lead of the race, the outright lead of the race, not the outright, the probable lead of the race, I should say, and he gained a huge amount on Senor Fact through that sequence. He gained 3.3 seconds with Senor Fact running on old tyres, and that was mad. Senor Fact did put a little bit more fuel on board. Probably held the car for another second or two on the fuel. Tequila back behind Red, question mark. 1.5 seconds, yes. Flash leads the race by 5.8 seconds. And I think Dummy and Senor Fact need to target getting within those 5 seconds for steward decisions later on, perhaps. But Flash could be one-stopping. I don't know if my display is going to work. I'm sorry to say that it does look like our Hector has failed us here. We are not looking at an accurate picture. Flash is leading this race. I'm afraid I'm going to turn off Hector because it is just too confusing at this point. So let's make sure that you get the accurate picture as we come into the end of the race. Flash leads the race by 5.2 seconds officially. Dummy is on his first set of medium tyres, first and only set of medium tyres. Flash has just under half a tank of fuel. I think he could be going to a finish, but his tyres are going to be ridiculously worn out. We still have 13 minutes. Look at that front left tyre on board Flash's car. That is going to be very hard, and Dummy is reeling him in like a fish on the end of a line. That gap then, Dummy to Senor Fact, 3.5 seconds. Here are the two Kimmy's cars, Red in 4th, Tequila Monkey in 5th. They were looking at potential double podium earlier on. At the moment though, it doesn't appear to be going their way. We'll see what happens if Flash has to pit again. It could at least be one Kimmy's car on the podium. Can Red hold on? Now he's back on his favourite medium tyres here. Sock in 6th place for Jan Placht Interiors. as Ren says, yeah, potentially there'll be some penalties, investigations at least. I'm not going to prejudice our stewards, but there could be investigations if he's reported. Bijan comes through in P8, Copa in 9th, and Dirtbag Larry in 10th position. Uncle Pants in 11th. Some great racing down here for the bottom end of the top 10. Bro Cargo v Coach Dave here, ×2 for these two. Uncle Pants in 11th, Mappy then following this group. Then we've got Phil in 13th place and Focal in for another pit stop. A change of tyres, I think, a little bit of fuel. And Flash, that front left is going to be the limitation for Flash. The gap down to 3 seconds now between Flash and Dummy. 3.2 Senor Fact to Dummy, and Dummy needs to catch Flash as fast as possible here because Senor Fact is going to get quicker, I feel, through the course of his stint, and that is going to be playing on the mind, and while he's got his engineer in his ear as well, just keeping him informed. That gap now down to 2.2 seconds between Flash and Dummy. Here are the two Kimmy's cars, as Tequila Monkey now is as close as he's been once before. He's going to go to the inside here. Can he judge the braking correctly on the inside line this time? Holding the breath are the Kimmy's team boss, but Tequila Monkey makes it through. Gold wing mirrors, gold end plates, and I think he just put a little bit of a hazard lights on to thank his teammate there for not making it too difficult. Tequila Monkey ahead of Red then. On the grid. They are 18 seconds away from Flash at the moment. That is well within the window for a pit stop from Flash. At this point, if Flash stops, I don't think he gets the soft tyres home even. He needs a second set of mediums. If he is trying to just stroke this car home, this is going to be incredibly difficult. Chris enjoying, I think that's Soul Shock, enjoying the Kimmy's liveries. You've got a fair, hefty amount of bias there, Chris. But we'll take it. I'm sure everyone else is very much pleased with those liveries as well. Great to see some bright colours and some pride on those cars as well. Lisa cheering on Tequila Monkey for getting himself into provisional 3rd place, actual 4th place at the moment. But this then is the gap between Dummy and Flash, and Dummy will be somewhat unawares of the Flash situations that have befallen the rest of the drivers earlier. Flash now pits. He cannot take that tyre any further. Dummy breathes a sigh of relief and now can just simply focus on the gap behind. 2.9 seconds to Senor Fact. He doesn't know that. He doesn't have the same display we have, but he can talk to Hector and he can talk to his radio engineer as well. Team Mega usually fielding an audio engineer here. Ren saying shout out to Red for these beautiful liveries. Absolutely. I'll tell you what, why don't we get a really close look at those liveries, because I know you guys are dying to see these special Pride liveries then. And you can see Red with the duck on the front here. What does that say there? Because I was inverted. Top Gun, nice sticker on there as well. But yes, very good, and I'm very pleased to have my sticker on there as well. Lap loud and proud, it says on the car, and you're going to have to help me out with Fahrenfinger. Bitte üben Sie Rücksicht. Please be patient as well on the back of his car. So help me out with that as well for me. And a slight variation on Tequila with the monkey and Tequila script down there as well. Not quite as many stickers on the out of the box for Tequila, but you have to give the you have to let the livery designer create his own custom view. Flash has gone for the softs with 8 minutes to go, and he's not treating them very gently either. Flash is in 5th, 26 seconds away from the lead of our race. Niki Lauda is in 6th place, 8 seconds away from Flash. Bijan looking really good for Bugstein here with a good haul of points potentially. 6th and 7th. Niki Lauda as well ahead of Bijan. Copa in 8th place, started at the back and is now fighting with Dirtbag Larry, and a great battle shaping up here as well for the Dirtbag. He's got Sock quite close behind him. We ride on board with Dirtbag Larry as we head down in towards turn 10. So, driving beginner, be passionate, says Renz. Thank you very much for the translation service. That's great. Great to see. Absolutely. So, proud dad as well. Happy Father's Day to Renz. If you guys celebrate in Germany, we haven't always celebrated it here in the UK. It's been a fairly recent thing in the last 20 years or so, I think. There's Comacopa with his display on his back of his rear wing, just indicating that he's using the VR system. Here comes the Dirtbag Larry then with the slipstream. Comacopa gives him the inside lane. Dirtbag's going to have to do this on the brakes. He brakes really late, and he makes the apex of turn 2 as well, but then he gets a little crunch in the rear for his troubles. Let's keep an eye on this one and see what happens here. They'll go side by side momentarily, and then we'll just trade over to Comacopa. He was trying to go for the cutback. Larry parks it on the apex, loses the car slightly, I think on his own, possibly going through the corner, I can't be sure, but then he moves forwards, and Ruben is cheering on Larry, who makes the overtake then into P8. Glad we managed to catch that. Ren says not today for Father's Day, but a couple of weeks ago at Ascension Day in Germany. Okay, interesting, good stuff. Okay, well, it surprises me not that the Germans were earlier than the Brits and the Americans, shall we say. Mappy, P11, Uncle Pants in P12s, and then Phil in 13th, Focal in 14th, and Dummy at the head of the field. Senor Dude said that's how it should be done, clean overtaking. I wonder who you're referencing there, Senor Dude. Look at this, battle for the lead with 5.5 minutes to go. Can the tyres hold on? Can my voice hold on? I'll go for a swift glug of water there, try and lubricate the vocal cords. And this is brilliant to see. The sun is starting to set, I think, as well around the racetrack, kicking up the dirt. Senor Fak is leaving it all out there, and Dummy is definitely hanging on as much as possible. Brilliant racing between the two. 5 minutes to go. Senor Fak has reeled in Dummy. And Dummy holds onto that inside lane. Desperately. Of course, he'll end up braking a little bit earlier or a little bit longer into the corner because there's less grip on the inside. But at the moment, Dummy doing enough. Pumpkin King cheering on Fak in full caps, so we know he's passionate and he's shouting. Leo cheering on Tequila Monkey in that third place at the moment. And Dummy then trying to weave the car, just basically trying to set up the car so that he can get through that final corner as smoothly as possible. As soon as you exit the final chicane, you can plant the throttle. But here we go. As the sun sets in Barcelona, we have 4 minutes to go. This looks like it's going to be 3 laps to go, including this one. And looks like Dummy has the top speed advantage down the main straight. Notwithstanding the fantastic slipstream that he'll be giving up to the Porsche, this is so close between the two of them. I don't know who is going to get it, but Dummy is full on the defensive. Senor Fak goes round it to the outside. Dummy is determined. He will not be passed on the inside, but Senor Fak switches back. What an overtake from him. There was the tiniest rub between the two of them. But man alive, that was masterful from both drivers. What an overtake this was. Look at this. Goes to the outside. Brakes early. Switches back. Dummy cannot do anything to bring the car back round. And both drivers make it through the corner. What an overtake from Senor Fak. Now, he has lost it before. But Dummy will have to really go some here to try and take on Senor Fak, who's managed to not only catch Dummy, but he has used less tyres doing so. This is astonishing from Senor Fak here. These two multiple winners in our G1 Championship as the Ferraris come through line astern. Flash is in 5th place, just exiting turn 8 now. And let's see if Dummy, well, it looks like Senor Fak has the pace advantage. He's already gapping Dummy here. And Dummy is really struggling on the tyres, on those medium tyres. The Lexus feels like a heavier car, feels like it's got less contact patch or less grip. Tequila being cheered on, but clearly Pumpkin King is well impressed with that overtake from Senor Fak. It's lap 32, 2 minutes to go. Some of the drivers won't make it round for lap 30 to finish lap 33. These 5 will, no problem. So the drivers who cross the line with less than 1 minute 46 to go, they will be the ones who will be on their final lap now. Little wiggle from Bijan. What have we got left? Yeah, it looks like Niki Lauda or Bijan will be the first to cross the line with the checkered flag here. Dirtbag Larry's in 8th place. He's got Coma Copa in 9th. Behind him, Mappy's in 10th. We've got Sock has just disappeared. Sock's had an accident right at the end of the race. Let's have a look. It was just as I was going through to check him out, and bang, into the barrier. There's damage on his Jamplacht, unfortunately. And then it's really struggling to recover here. It's very low grip out there, and he's doing the right thing by taking his time to not get in anybody else's way. But that's heartbreaking for Sock. Absolutely heartbreaking. Back to the lead of the race. It's 1.5 seconds between the two of them. We don't have any real battles happening at the moment, I think. So it's just all about whether Senor Fak and Dummy can hang on to this one. 2 minutes to go, says Frankie. We're down to the last few seconds now. Dummy comes through, and I think he's going to be feeling in the helmet at the moment like it's gone. The win has gone away from him. 1.5 seconds is the gap between the two. Tequila Monkey in 3rd, Red in 4th position. Oh, it would be so good if Red could back-to-back podiums, but he has got a sprint race win. And a fantastic win that was as well in the sprint. I'm so sorry that I didn't have my audio on. Here comes Niki Lauda to come through, and in that 6th place. Let's see, his last lap of 150. Looks like he's going to take the checkered flag here, Niki Lauda. So he'll be the first one to pass underneath. The checkered flag will come out momentarily. No, he will do the final lap by like a second. So Bijan. So Niki did pick up the checkered flag. That was crazy. Bijan, final lap. Dirtbag Larry in 8th. Coma Copa coming through in 9th place. Mappy in 10th. And then we better go back to our race leaders as well, because they will still be pushing hard. We don't want to miss somebody binning it at the end. Dummy's on very low fuel as well. Senor Fak has a bit more fuel on board, so Dummy could run out of fuel before the end of this race. Let's hope that's not the case. We hate to see that with drivers, unfortunately. See what Tequila Monkey's fine on fuel as well. Looks like Senor Fak has done enough here. 2.3 seconds. But Senor Fak has been terrific so far today. Took the grid penalty, took it on the chin. He has been fantastic today. A penultimate lap overtake from the gods. It's Senor Fak who takes the win in Spain ahead of Dummy. What a fantastic race from both drivers. Congratulations to them. The Kimmy's cars showing their pride today will be coming through to take home P3 and P4, it looks like. Fantastic result for them, and from the sprint race win from Red as well. And Flash will be home across the dirt in P5, appropriately enough. Drivers we haven't called: Mappy, Phil, 10th and 11th, Uncle Pants and Sock. Wow, what a closeout for the race that was. GG's to our podium, and for Senor Fak, for Dummy, and for Tequila Monkey, reigning S1 champion. Red home in 4th place with great points for the team. Don't know why he got a 1 second penalty at the end there, but yeah, that's the final standings. I'll go through those momentarily. Please make sure you leave a like on the video. We've got the thanks button, we've got memberships, all available to you, but make sure you're also subscribing, as well as my channel, to @SVR-racing as well, and check out the website as well. Tell me your favorite factoid from the website. Senor Fak ahead of Dummy, ahead of Tequila Monkey and Red. Flash in 5th, we might have a question mark there with Niki Lauda and Bijan finishing a strong 6th and 7th for Buxton Transport Service. Dirtbag Larry in P8, another great recovery from Dirtbag. And then Karma Copa in P9 and P10 for Mappy. Phil in 11th, Uncle Pants in 12th, Sock in 13th, and Focal home in 14th place. Fastest lap went by way of Senor Fac. Look how close that was, 6 thousandths of a second between the fastest lap, and they were separated at the line by 3.2 seconds in the end. So Pumpkin King said it was a 1 second penalty for cutting the chicane exit. Unfortunately, right, understood. Okay, so Flash and Red both cut that final chicane by the minutest of margins, as is the way with Gran Turismo. So congratulations, everybody. That was a lot of fun. Well done, everyone, for sticking with us through the long and late racing. I really appreciate everybody for being here with me and enjoying the race alongside us. Thanks everyone for watching. I do all the good stuff for us to like the video and help with the metrics. But it's been an absolute pleasure as always. That is us done with Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. We go on and we race at Kyoto Yamigawa in 1 week's time for the Formula Cars. Cheer us on then. But for now, thanks for watching. Stay tuned on the channel Thursday 7 p.m. UK for the G2. But for now, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next race day.